Hi everyone. The purpose of this lecture is to go over the course syllabus. The first thing that I would like to go over is the course structure and schedule. As you'll find on our course syllabus, the very first page actually contains the weekly schedule for our class. This will change each and every single week as office hours and other activities may be updated. So you'll see at the top weekly schedule and the current week in which we're on. The first thing to note is that during our regular class time, we will not be having lecture, as is usual with college classes. We will instead have asynchronous lectures, which means that I will record each and every lecture before class and release them before the class time so that you have ample time to watch the videos and be able to ask questions before our scheduled class time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Additionally, any lecture notes that I create that are handwritten, as well as PowerPoint slides, will be posted to Elms for your reference. During our regularly scheduled class time, we will not be having lecture, but we will instead be working on group work problems. As a result, on Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 3 p.m., your virtual attendance is required. You and a team of your fellow classmates will work together on practice problems, and you will submit solutions to those practice problems that are graded by 5 p.m., which gives you ample time to work together, ask questions, and submit those problems. I'll explain a little bit more about the group work and grade scope later on in this presentation. In addition to those scheduled activities, each week there will be office hours held by myself and the rest of the teaching team. All office hours will be held virtually via Zoom and may shift depending on your particular needs. So on a typical exam week, we may shift office hours to ensure that we have many office hours before the exam rather than afterwards. So feel free to attend any office hours that you would like, and make sure to always check the front page of the syllabus for the links to these office hours as well as the correct times. In addition to those things, you can see each week is broken down on the following pages so that there is a greater level of detail into what we will be doing in the course each and every single week. As you can see, each class period contains a group work, and each group work shows you which units and which lectures you need to watch in order to be prepared to work together with your fellow classmates. As you can see, for week 1, we have group work 1, and you're required to watch the course introductions as well as the videos related to introducing forces, moments, as well as 2D and equilibrium and free body diagrams. Following on every Sunday, homework assignments will be due by 11:59 p.m. These homework problems will be submitted via Gradescope and the online Mastering Engineering. I'll talk more about your homework a little later on so you understand the format, but do understand that the homework will be due each and every Sunday and the due dates are shown on the schedule. On exam weeks, as you can see, exams will take place every 2 weeks, and all exams will be administered virtually over Zoom, which will require you to log on and have a video camera set up to record yourself taking the exam, that shows your hands, the exam sheet, and we will proctor the exam and be there to answer any questions you might have. On weeks where there is an exam, your homework will be still due Sunday, but I will make sure to release the solutions for that in the middle of the week, which is a huge bonus for you. Now let's talk about the Elms page for our course, as well as the course supplies that you will need to purchase. On Elms, when you log on, you'll find the homepage has pretty much quick links to every single thing that you need in the course. I've tried to make it as organized and helpful as possible, so this is your one-stop shop. You can find the course syllabus and schedule that I was just describing, and below that homepage, you can also find a link for any announcements that are made. This is usually where I'll post Zoom meeting links, potentially solutions, as well as any updates or important course announcements. You'll also find course files on our Elms page, which will include all of the lectures, lecture notes, exam review problems, as well as extra resources and anything else that I think you might find helpful. The homework will also be accessed through our Elms page as well. There are quick links for this, and this is how you'll access Mastering Engineering. You'll also access Gradescope, which is where you submit your homework and group work, and I'll also post your homework solutions here as well. And because everything else is there, you'll also find your group work there. All of the problems and solutions will be posted each and every single day we have class. Now, Elms has this handy page called the Syllabus. Essentially here, I've input all the assignments onto Elms already along with their due dates so that you can find everything in an easy progression from the beginning to the end of the course. So you can write down at the start what's due and when it's due to help keep you on track. Again, if you're new to Elms, you can also find all of the files for the course right here. I've organized them into several folders, including exams and study resources. Here's where you'll find all of the old exam practice problems. Below that, you have extra credit, which is where you'll find anything that's related to you receiving extra credit in the class. Below that, you'll find group work, which is where I'll post all of the problems along with the corresponding solutions. Below that, you'll find homework, which is where all of the homework solutions will be posted. Below that, you'll find lectures and notes, which is where I will be posting all of the handwritten solutions to the problems I do, as well as all the PowerPoint slides. In other, you might not really find anything particularly useful there, but below other, you'll find resources and references, which contains important material properties and other things that you sometimes may need to do, practice problems, group work, as well as homework. So let's talk about course materials. There is a textbook for the course, and it can be accessed online at the following website link. The textbook is electronic and does not contain any practice problems, but does have readings in it to help you understand the material. The text will be accompanied by Mastering Engineering, which provides you access to the homework. Mastering Engineering, as I was explaining before, is electronic and can be accessed through our Elms course website. The cost for both items, the textbook and Mastering Engineering together, is $80 and is a course requirement. You can purchase the textbook using the following link. After you've purchased the textbook, you will receive an email containing an access code for Mastering Engineering. And note that the password for the textbook is the same for all students, but each student will have a unique access code that will be valid for this semester only. If you've got other questions about Mastering Engineering and the course textbook, please refer to the course syllabus, as if you've already taken ENES 102 or a similar course, you may already have access to the textbook. So please look at the syllabus before you email me or any of the TAs any questions about the course materials, as there is more information there. Let's talk about grading. That's probably what everyone's most important question is. So how does grading work? We'll follow the traditional grading scale of most courses, which delineates that if you receive a 90 to a 100, you will receive somewhere in an A. If you receive an 80 to an 89.9, that will correlate to approximately a B, and so on and so forth. The course is comprised into several different assignment categories with the following grading weights. Group work is worth 10% of your final course grade and has 9 group work problems over the course of the semester. Homework is worth 5% of your grade, and there are 9 homework assignments that you'll be turning in. There is also going to be a final project, which I'll detail more later, which is worth 10% of your grade, and the biggest chunk of your grade will be 3 course exams, which is worth a total of 75% of your grade. Now, because I've been a student before, I know a lot of you may be nervous about grading, and a lot of you are probably very hopeful that you want to get an A. If we look historically at all of the course grades that have been given for ENES 102 in the history of the University of Maryland, here's what you see. You see that roughly 30% of students get an A, 38% get a B, and 24% get a C. Given that exam grades can fall within a wider range and are non-determinate, I will make sure to curve the course to some extent to help boost students' grades, according to roughly the following curve above. What I mean by this is that if a student receives an 89, but is in the top 30% of the course, they will still receive an A in the course and will not be bumped down to a B. So, the course will be curved roughly according to this thing right here, the curve you see above. However, if 100% of the students in the course get above a 90, then every single student gets an A, and I am totally fine with that. The course will only be curved to help students' grades and will not be curved to hurt anyone's grades. Just so you know how you're doing in the course at all times, I will always provide exam statistics after each exam with the curve of that particular exam, along with your percentile score, so you always know where in this curve you fit. In terms of course grading, I hope you understand that grades are not your main priority in this class. Your goal in this class and all of your college classes, realistically, is to learn. And by learning as much as you possibly can, that's going to result in you earning a better grade. And I don't assign your grades, you earn them. Technically speaking, as your professor, I will go in and put grades in at the end of the semester, but I'm not going to put a grade in that you yourself didn't earn. So, work hard, because this course can definitely be challenging. As a freshman student at the University of Maryland myself, I actually did not do very well in ENES 102. I took it my very first semester at college, back in fall 2008, and to be totally honest with you, I probably almost failed. I ended up getting a C plus in the course, and was extremely relieved at that. Now, when I was not doing so well, the funny thing was that my mom told me, Mike, you probably aren't doing good in ENES 102 and some of your other college classes because you're spending far too much time on your fantasy football team. Which, at the time, my fantasy football team was pretty horrible. So, at the time, this was pretty dejecting to me because I thought, man, I can't even succeed at fantasy football and I can't even succeed at college. I suck at everything. But the good news is that this past year, I actually won the fantasy football trophy, which we named Frisbee Girl, and I have it in my room, and you will see her from time to time in our particular class. Okay, because this class is hard, and eventually I did learn to succeed at college, as you can see that I'm your instructor for the class that I got a C in, I hope that you take advantage of a lot of the extra resources in this class and identify if you are ever struggling. So, make sure that you understand that I and your teaching assistants are always here to help you understand the material. This summer is going to go by very, very fast. We're taking a normally 14 plus week course and condensing it to 6 weeks. It's going to go fast. So, make sure that if you've ever got questions about the class logistics, lecture materials, homework, whatever it might be, email all of the teaching team and always include in your subject line of your email ENES 102 along with the reason. Include your name and UID in all emails so that we can quickly identify you and look up any applicable information. And we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. That's why I suggest you email all three of us every time you've got a question. That way, whoever sees the email first can respond. Let's talk about homework and group work now, and what the format and how to submit these problems. So accessing the homework is easy and can be done on our Elms page by looking at the module section. If you then click on the Mastering Engineering Homework Assignments on the linear table, you'll be able to see the following. Each homework has already been created and will time release at the start of each week. Homework is comprised of two things: online problems and written problems. The online problems will be graded by computer, and no handwritten solutions are necessary. You are given 6 attempts on every single one of these questions before any credit is deducted for you receiving an incorrect answer. And you can hand in any of these 4 problems late, but for each day that you hand in this online portion of the assignment late, you will receive 25% reduction in your overall credit for the homework. As a result, after 4 days, you will receive no credit for the online problems if you have not completed any. There is also handwritten problems, and this is probably the most important part of the homework. On this part of the homework, you are required to develop handwritten solutions that you submit online via Gradescope. One of the problems will be graded for completion, and one will be graded for correctness and thoroughness. We will not tell you which of the two is graded for completion and which is graded for correctness and thoroughness, so you should treat both as if they are going to be graded very intensely. Make sure that you take clearly legible pictures of your work and post them as a single PDF document. Because lined paper sometimes is discolored or a little difficult to see, we suggest that you use computer paper so that your homework is much neater and organized and is easier to see in your pictures. On our Elms page and in the syllabus, there are details that explain to you how your homework should be formatted. If your homework is illegible or does not appropriately follow the correct formatting, you will receive no credit on the homework. On the written problems, I'm allowing you to submit these problems 1 day late for only a reduction of 20% credit. After that 1 day late, no late submissions will be accepted for the written problems. Group work, as I was explaining before, will be done every single class period, except the days which we have exams. You will work in groups each class period, and each and every single student in the group will have to hand in a set of solutions to the problems. No makeup assignments will be given for the group work, and in order to account for the missing possibly one or more group works, your lowest grade on the group work problems will be dropped. How do you submit your homework and group work? Well, what you'll do is you'll create a very neat and organized physical copy that's legible and follows all formatting instructions. You'll use an app like CamScanner or Adobe Scan to scan your work, and you'll upload the digital PDF to Gradescope. So how do you find Gradescope? What you'll do is you'll log onto our Elms page and you'll see this button right here. It's already linked through our page. When you click on Gradescope, you should come to a page that looks something like this. This is what my view is as the instructor, so it may look a little bit different for you as a student. But what you'll see is the due date for every assignment that's posted on Gradescope. So you can see that Group Work 1 will be released our first day of class, which is July 14th, and is due later that day at 5 p.m. Gradescope will pretty much explain to you fairly clearly how to submit your assignment with step-by-step instructions, and there are also extra instructions in the course syllabus that you can find. Here's what you need to hand in. Remember that all assignments, homework, and group works must be turned in PDF format. Do not just simply send in JPEGs or pictures. If you do so, we will give you a 0 on the homework. It's also important to realize that neatness counts. Make sure your name is on every page and that your assignment is turned in appropriately on time. You can't email us and say, "Oh no, I was 1 minute late. Please forgive me." The timeline is the timeline, so please submit your homework on time. Here's an example of what not to hand in. If you hand an assignment like on the left, you're going to make our teaching assistant go blind by trying to read this. Also, do not try and hand in paper that's been crumpled or discolored or has stuff spilled on it, as it may be very difficult for us to read. Again, your assignment must be legible and must follow the correct format in order for you to receive a score. Let me now talk about the final project in the course and explain this in a little bit more detail. For the final project, essentially what you will do are you're going to be turning 2 real-world systems into ENES 102 problems and doing a deep dive to understand these systems and apply equations to them appropriately. You will identify one structure, whether it be as grand as the Great Pyramids of Giza or as simple as a chair in your room. You'll also identify a machine or a mechanical system, which could be a swing, a seesaw, a set of pliers, or another tool in your house. You are responsible for developing sketches, completing appropriate calculations, and recording a video demonstration that showcases your work in an educational and an exciting way. Let me explain further. The project has 2 deliverables. Deliverable 1 is the final project proposal. As you can see over here is a famous bachelor couple with the final proposal on the final episode. So, what you need to do is first propose your project. You need to tell me what your 2 topic areas that you're going to focus on are in the course. So, for example, using a syllabus, you'll look through and say, I might want to choose Unit 8 on material properties and Unit 12 buckling, which will be the 2 topic areas at a minimum that I focus on to apply to my real-world systems. The second thing you'll do is you'll find 2 or more real-world systems, as I was explaining before, 1 structure and 1 machine, that showcase how your 2 principles above can be applied. You'll provide maybe a 1-page or so write-up of how you believe you can apply the units from class to these structures and kind of the work that you'll do over the rest of the semester. The second deliverable of the final project will require you to submit a final project portfolio, which essentially is your final project, which includes an outline of the topic areas you chose, as well as pictures and sketches of your real-world systems. The sketches are essentially your adaptation of that structure into an ENES 102 system or problem that you're going to be analyzing. What you'll need to do is have any applicable dimensions and materials of that particular structure or machine that are relevant in your calculations. You'll also have to provide calculations and step-by-step explanations of what you're doing in those calculations that include all of your assumptions. What I don't want you to do is just dump in your final answer and say, hey, I did some math, here it is. I want you to say, step 1, I'm drawing a free body diagram, etc., etc., etc. And the final thing is also to include any references that you may have used. The final part of your final project is to submit an engaging video that showcases your project. You will be uploading this video to YouTube and sharing it publicly with all of the other students in our class, your TA, and myself, and potentially with the rest of the world. Your video needs to be 10 minutes or less, and it needs to be in an exciting and engaging way that showcases your final project and what you've learned through your application of course concepts to real-world systems. To get you motivated even further, there's going to be a final project competition. The first award will be the People's Choice Award. Because all of your videos will be posted to YouTube, you need to share your video as widely as you can. And the student with the most likes on their video will receive the illustrious People's Choice Award. Award number 2 is what I'm going to call the Engineer's Choice Award. I and the teaching team, along with potentially other professional engineers, are going to look at the videos and try and figure out which video we thought was the best. The criteria we'll use to do that are how sophisticated are your real-world systems and accompanying analysis. We'll also be judging your videos on how engaging and informative they are, and we'll also be judging them on other miscellaneous criteria, such as your attitude, how funny they are, etc. So, no competition would be appropriate or fully complete without some awesome prizes. So, I'll be making sure to give out some prizes for both of the awards above, and potentially other reasons that why I like particular students' videos. The prizes will either be in the form of money or cookies filled with money, which may not be a good idea, but I'll determine that later. So, I want to end this slide lecture series with some advice for the class. It's important to realize in ENES 102 that I am your teacher. I am not your learner. It is your responsibility to make the most of your time in this class and really work hard and do your best. I highly recommend that although these lecture slides and everything will be online, that you treat the lectures as though we were in class. Sit down, stay focused, and take notes. Don't be on your phone on TikTok. Don't be playing Pokemon Go or Xbox or PlayStation. Don't have Netflix streaming in the background. Seriously, sit down, take notes, and really learn. And most importantly, laugh at my jokes, please. I'll do my best to crack some jokes throughout the lecture slides, and there's nothing sadder than when you crack a joke to a video recording screen and no one laughs. So I will be able to feel through space and time if you were laughing at the jokes, and that'll make me a lot happier. After you've watched the lectures and written down all of your notes, make sure that you come to class prepared with questions. And you also ask these questions in office hours. Don't wait until the last minute to ask questions, as I assume that office hours during the weeks of exams or other times are going to be very crowded. So, always ask questions sooner rather than later, and don't just think that you can only ask them to the teaching team. Develop friendships and relationships in the class so that you have a study partner and people that you can work with to ask questions. Now, think to yourselves for a minute, how many of you play an instrument, or how many of you have played a sport in your life? I'm sure a lot of you probably have done one or the other. Or maybe some of you paint. Practice makes perfect, right? We all know that the only way to get good at a lot of things in life is to practice, is to do them repeatedly. It's important to realize that engineering is not simply a knowledge to be learned, but rather it is a skill that is to be cultivated. So as a result, the best way for you to get good at ENES 102 and all of your engineering courses for that matter is to practice. So, make sure that you take every opportunity very seriously to practice. The point of the homework isn't for really your grading purposes. It's to make sure that you're getting the opportunity to apply the concepts that I discuss in the lectures to real-world problems. And it's important to realize that homework is worth 5% of your grade, whereas exams are worth 75% of your grade. If you don't take the homework seriously, and perhaps you copy answers from someone else, you're going to be doing yourself a massive disservice, because if you never practice, then you're never going to learn, and that's going to become very clear on your exams. And if you mess up even one exam in the class, you may have already dropped 2 letter grades in the class. So, take everything seriously and take every opportunity to practice at face value and do your best. For the course exams, we have 3 of them, and they are shown here, along with the concepts that we cover. Each exam will be approximately 1 hour long, will contain at least 3 exam questions. And on the exams, you'll be allowed a 1-page formula sheet, which is handwritten, as well as a calculator. I'll require you to send in your formula sheet when you submit your exams. The way that I suggest you study for this class is to solve as many problems as you can. Organize the problems by type and work through them. So for example, if you're working through trust problems, take a stack of every trust problem that I give you in the class and solve them one after the other. In the beginning, you may look at the answers and the handwritten solutions that I provide as a crutch of sorts to help you get better, but the longer you go in this pile, the further along you should try to get without looking at help. You should try and struggle in the problems as much as you can, because it's through that pain that you'll gain the knowledge that you need. And I also highly suggest that you work in groups, especially since we're in a virtual learning environment. Things can probably get pretty lonely and pretty boring if you work by yourself all the time. I highly encourage you to make friends in the class and form study groups. What I'll actually be doing is creating study groups for you and putting you in contact each week so that you can meet and potentially work on the homework and work on practice exam problems and study together. And this will be an opportunity for you to get extra credit. Which brings us to everybody's favorite topic, extra credit. In order to encourage you to practice and really do your best in this class, old exam problems are posted to Elms to help you practice and prepare for the exams. You can find this under exam practice problems on our Elms page. And what you'll need to do is submit written solutions to at least 8 old exam problems and digitally submit them on Elms and Gradescope before the exam. By doing this for all of the exams, you'll earn up to 1% towards your final grade overall. There will also be other extra credit opportunities, like the personal introduction slides I already mentioned. Coupling this with other opportunities in the class, you can also earn up to a whole other percent towards your final grade, meaning that extra credit in this class can boost your grade by 2 overall percentage points. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility to make the most of your experience in ENES 102, and I and the teaching team really hope to be here to help you have a good experience where you learn a lot and have fun. But on your own, make sure that you're working on practice problems and you're watching all the lectures. Make sure that you're working with others, make friends, and have some fun. Thank you for watching this lecture about the syllabus. Hopefully this answers your primary questions about the class, and I look forward to meeting you all this week.